Hey guys, what's going on? Marcus here, and today we're going to talk about lifting to pack on muscle.
Okay, so here's the big problem. You want to live plant based and excel at your health and performance. You're looking for real ways to change your life and the world by reducing your footprint. How do we continue to perform in every facet of our lives and do it without eating meat and following the format that's been force fed to us our entire lives? And do it on your own terms through a plant based diet? That's the real question, and I'll give you those answers and more. I'm Marcus Watts, and welcome to the Vegan Transition.
All right, what's going on, guys? So, been getting a bunch of questions, and I kind of wanted to share a bunch of them here because I know a lot of you guys would really benefit from it. A bunch of you guys are asking about lifting to put on muscle, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, okay. First thing that you need to understand that when you're lifting to put on muscle, you're gonna need to already make sure that you're in a caloric surplus, right? So just to understand it, we're not gonna dig into the nutrition side, but if you have to eat more calories than you intake, if you don't eat more calories than you intake, you're gonna struggle to put on any muscle. Your body's gonna have to feed on itself for energy, okay? That's just like before you get started. The other thing is, remember that also when you're lifting for muscle, you're gonna need to go ahead and prepare that your body's gonna be put under a lot of stress. It's a lot harder to put on muscle than it is to lose fat. It takes years for people to put on like large amounts of muscle mass, and you can lose fat like that. Like you just change your diet, you just change some things that you're doing. You remove some things from your diet. You remove inflammation. The weight, the number on the scale can go down, and seemingly fat loss can just like happen like that when you get into the right zone, right? So with those being in mind, today we're gonna dig into my favorite lifts for putting on muscle. So most people struggle with this. I think that it's because, again, like I said, it takes longer. So you don't want to wait as much time to see yourself like putting on muscle. Where like when you just start to do something and you like see yourself looking a little bit different, you automatically feel better. Or in general, people just think that when the weight on the scale goes down, that's a good thing, even though they're not accounting for, the different, all the different things that could be playing into that, right? So most people are going to struggle with one, the mindset of lifting heavier. With all the things that I'm going to give you guys today, you're going to need to develop the mindset that you got to challenge yourself. You really do. When you're lifting to put on muscle, it's not going to be something that's going to be necessarily fun. And what I mean is, the payoff comes later. You are going to have to work pretty close to failure with some loads that are pretty challenging. You've got to signal to your body that, hey, listen, this is not going to change. And you're going to have to, what's going on, guys? See you guys coming in. You're going to have that, you're signaling to your body that it's going to have to change by making those muscle fibers expand. The other thing is, remember, you're not actually creating more muscle fibers in your body. You're born with all the muscle fibers that you'll ever have. You're just forcing those muscle fibers to like expand. All right. That's where the nutrition, the rest, and recovery, all of those things are going to come into play. If you're not resting, you're not recovering, you're not doing those things, no matter what you do, even if you do these lifts, you're not eating enough, you're not hydrating enough, you're not you're not letting your central nervous system recover. None of this stuff is going to pay off for you. I think the largest struggle that you'll have on the way is maintaining your body. So again, you're putting your body under a bunch of different stressors, right? Your muscle fibers are going to be changing. Your joints are going to be feeling the stress. It's going to be just as important, if not more important, than the actual training itself than the actual lifting, that you spend time on recovery. So doing yoga, doing mobilization techniques, getting soft tissue work, investing in your body, things like that. These are all very, very, very important. All right. So the first group of exercises that I want to get into, I want to talk about weighted body weight movements. Okay. So we're talking about weighted push-ups. We're talking about weighted chin-ups, weighted pull-ups. Especially the chin-ups and pull-ups, you're going to develop a ton of upper body strength. And it's just a way to, you won't, I don't want to say that it's going to be less stress on you, but it's definitely a lot different than, say you're moving a barbell load on your back, which you'll need to do a lot more preparation for that than you would for maybe like weighted pull-ups or weighted chin-ups. A neutral grip for those of you guys that aren't watching the video and you're just listening to this later, then this neutral grip, you're going to always be a little bit stronger, right? The chin up here is going to be supinated grip is what we would call it, right? So your palms facing it, and then a pronated grip, all right, would be just a normal pull-up, right? Where your palms are facing the bar. So you can use, honestly, any variation. I like to switch between all of them because I don't like to develop too much strength in any one of them. But weighted chin-ups and weighted pull-ups are going to be the first one. Weighted push-ups would be phenomenal just as well because, again, your body's not used to moving in that movement with weight on it. You're going to get a whole type of different stimulus on your body. Some of you are going to say, man, I can't do pull-ups. Like, I can't do regular pull-ups, so I'm not going to be able to do weighted. That's cool. Start scaled then. Use a band as much as you need to, controlled, all right? You shouldn't be bouncing up and down in a band, all right? And then use, an assisted pull-up machine or chin-up machine, dip machine, whatever. Use those to help you out first, all right? And weighted dips are another one that we can throw in there. I'm going to say prime over all of them is going to be the weighted pull-ups and chin-ups, though, just to make sure that I get that across. Kind of threw a couple things out there. But any of those are going to help you. And whenever you're doing, especially any of those scales moving up, you always want to go slower with like pauses at the top, controlling yourself when you're lowering yourself back down in the movement. So do whatever you need to work up to that. So one pull-up program that I really, really love, it's the max test program. So pretty much what you would do is whatever your scale is, right? Whether it's using a band or a certain band, or it's using a pull-up machine with a certain amount of resistance, you want to do a max effort test, right? You want to find something that you can do, for 10, somewhere, preferably within, 10 to 20 reps, 10 to 15 reps. So you do a max effort test, right? And then 3 days a week, you do that number. You do whatever number you hit in your max test, like 3 times a week. So here's the example. So like I did this when I was playing ball in South America. I just had a lot of time on my hands. I was working out like twice a day outside of practice. So what I did was I did a max pull-up test. I think at that time I tested out like 25 or 30. And then every other day, at least, if not, sometimes I did it more, I would end up doing, it didn't matter the sets that you broke it up into. So I just had to do 30 pull-ups, right? Whether I did sets of 5, sets of 10, sets of whatever, right? And it might have been more pull-ups. I honestly can't remember. So what you're starting to do is accumulate this volume over time, right? Also known as like a linear progression, or in this case, it's kind of like a progressive overload in the way I'm going to break down, but it's just more like a linear, like steady climb. So let's say you did 30 pull-ups, you would then do, maybe you do sets of 5, maybe you do sets of 7. Soon you're going to work up to be able to do like 2 sets of 10 and then break up your last set. That's completely fine. But this is the goal. Every single time that you come back to pull-ups day, you do your max in pull-ups, broken up over sets. Now, once I would do my max pull-ups, the next thing that I would do is I would work to failure. So once you get your 30, your 20, your 25, your 15, whatever for the day that you're supposed to get, you then go to failure. Once I go to failure with whatever my scale was, regular body weight, assisted, whatever, now I'm gonna like throw some assistance on, or like jump up to the top of the bar and then lower myself down, right? And basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to really challenge myself as much as I can until I literally can't do anymore. Because that spot of being uncomfortable is where the most change is gonna come in the organism. Okay, the next thing is barbell presses. So we're talking bench press, we're talking push press, we're talking shoulder press. Any variations of presses honestly are going to do, but the biggest bang for your buck is going to be like military press or standing strict press, and obviously like the bench press. If I was going to do bench press, I would work more like a close grip, because that close grip is going to develop your chest, but it's also going to develop your triceps. So if you're talking about packing on muscle, the close grip bench is great for that. Now, typically you'll lift a little bit less because of that. Okay, the next one is going to be heavy barbell squats. And in this instance, we're talking about box squats. So box squats, you want to be at 90 degrees or even just above 90 degrees. And listen, we're talking about lifting to pack on muscle, right? So the box squat is going to be fantastic for this. And obviously different versions of the squats are going to be good. I'm going to talk about another one later. But the barbell back squat to a box, you're typically going to go from like a sumo stance or a wider stance like competitive powerlifters do, and you want to come down to, again, at 90 degrees or maybe just above it. You want to come to a complete stop and then have to reignite or reactivate your hamstrings and your glutes in order to stand up. So the thing here is you gotta stay tight in your body the entire way. When you are at the bottom, you're kind of relaxing your legs for just a second. I mean, you're not gonna relax to where you're turning off, but you're gonna have to reactivate those hamstrings. So the heavy barbell back squat to a box. So the heavy barbell box squat. All right, so next thing is going to be the deadlift, but it's two different versions. It's not the normal deadlift that most of you guys probably think of, where you're kind of like going down, touch and go. We're not talking about touch and go deadlifts, right? So what we're talking about is doing a deadlift with a complete stop. So you can come from, again, I like to vary stances. So I don't like to do anything for too long, maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks of doing one, 2 or 3 weeks of doing another after maybe a little bit of a deload week. But you want to do deadlifts to a complete stop. So you have to restart the barbell. That's where you're going to develop the most power. If you're developing the most power, you're going to have a chance to also put on the most size, right? As long as you're working inside of the proper rep ranges and eating in a surplus like you should be. Pause deadlifts are going to be great as well. So that's where you would like pick the bar off the ground and maybe stop like mid shin or like just below the knee. Stop the bar and then have to restart it again. So you only want to do this with loads that you can control, so you're not getting yourself into an unhealthy position. We don't want to get you into an unsafe position. We always want to keep you safe. So if your technique were to start to falter, then you would want to stop. But in general, anything where you're pausing or stopping and having to restart, that's pure power. And you're going to be able to really pack on some size there as well. Okay. The last thing is pause front squats. Now, pause front squats are brutal, right? One program that you can look up is called the Easy Squat Routine, Front Squat Routine, Easy Front Squat Routine, EZE. That's by Travis Mash and Mash Elite. And we used to do this at the gyms, and it's phenomenal for developing raw power. A lot of people would, if you go through the full program, I think it's 9 weeks. If you go through the full like 9 or 12 week program, then your numbers will go. A lot of times people would be like 3-repping their old 1-rep max, and that's not a joke. So the first 3 weeks, what you're going to do is you're going to do a front squat. What you're going to do is you're going to lower down to the bottom of a squat, right? And you're going to pause for 7 seconds. So you'll hold in the bottom while holding your breath, and increases the capillaries in the blood. It's also great for increasing your conditioning level. 7 seconds, you stand up, and then when you stand up with the barbell, you're going to actually stay in the front rack routine or position, right? And flex your entire body, your lats, everything as hard as you can for 12 seconds. Then you rack the bar up. So the goal is to only do like 1 or 2 sets of that because it's a big drain on the body. And then once you've worked up to a heavy for the day, right? And a lot of these things, you can do that. You can just work to like a heavy for the day. And heavy is relative. Some days you're going to lift, pretty close to your max. Some days you're going to be like 40% under based on how your central nervous system feels. But then what you would do is you would do some drop sets. So you would do 80% of that, okay? 80% of whatever weight you lifted. So if you lifted 100 pounds for that front squat, pausing for 7 seconds, then you would do 80 pounds for 3 sets of 3 with no pauses. Okay. No pauses, no holds, just 3 sets of 3. Then the next week you would do the same thing. You would aim to increase maybe 5 to 10 pounds on that 100 pounds or so. So you'd go up to 105 or 110 pounds, and you would do the same thing. 7 seconds at the bottom, 12 seconds holding at the top, rack it. And then you're going to go 83% of whatever you did for that max for 3 sets of 3 reps. And then you do the same thing the last week at 85%. So you work up to your heavy, then you're going to do your drop sets at 85% for 3 sets of 3. That's going to throw on some serious strength, right? The next like wave 2 would be for like 3 weeks. And what you would actually do is you would do a pause front squat. And instead of doing the 7 seconds, you're going to do 5 seconds. So you pause 5 seconds in the bottom of that front squat, stand up. You're going to hold for, instead of holding for 12 seconds at the top, you hold for 10 seconds at the top, just like we talked about, right? The 12, now you're going to do 10. Then you repeat the same thing. 80% for 3 sets of 3, 83% the next week for 3 sets of 3, 85% the next week for 3 sets of 3. So those of you guys that are just coming in, go back. You're going to want to rewind and go hear those tips that I'm giving on that, because that pause front squat routine will get you strong, right? The other thing that I would do is just also, like, even though you're starting to lift, like you want to lift heavy and you want to put on muscle, you still need to keep your cardiovascular up. So go make sure you're going to play a sport a couple times a week, or, you're getting, 30 minutes of cardio, 20 minutes of cardio in it. And that could just be walking, walking up some stairs, walking on a treadmill, or walking on a treadmill with an incline, just something to keep your cardiovascular up, because you don't want to lose that. And that'll also help you to, as you're putting on the muscle, as you're putting on the strength, to be staying lean as well. Because you don't want to get like big and big, big and strong. You just want to be, stronger, put on muscle, but still, have a nice body composition. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that one. If you guys have any questions, please post to this, let me know. And I'll be sure to comment back and answer all the questions that I can. So those of you guys that are looking for a program to help with this, my 30-day program I'm giving away for free. I had hoped to have it launched Monday. We had some issues with it, but hopefully it'll be out in the next couple of days for you guys to be able to start prep over the weekend and then start next week. It's free. You get 30 days of access to workouts. There's a meal plan every week. There are some tutorials that we're going to do. We've taken a lot of the learning from the back end stuff and some of the other programs that we've kind of fixed some of the things and put it all into one. I just kind of want people to come check it out. It's risk-free. You don't have any obligation. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can go to thewattskuyfitness.com/4-week access, and you guys will see that there. You can sign up for it, and then you'll start getting all the information. Make sure that you guys check your junk mail, because if you don't check your junk mail, your mail provider may send it to your junk, and then you don't have the access to it. So thewattskuyfitness.com/4-week access. If you guys want access to 30 days of my exact training program, literally it's what I do. There's also a course that's going to teach you how to develop your own macros. And then also inside of that, there are meal plans every week and a bunch of other stuff. A nice little community organization. So hope that you guys got something good from this one, and take it easy. Hey guys, Marcus here. Listen, I'm so appreciative of you guys coming and checking out the podcast. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen. And if you know someone that this would help, please share this podcast with them. Help us to reach as many people as possible and make a serious impact. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get alerted when every new episode releases.